So the topic of adrenochrome has returned to mainstream discussion. Sound of Freedom star Jim Caviezel has brought it up directly. Now, some people suggest that adrenochrome isn't even real, but in fact that it's a lie. No, it's not. It's very much real. Even if you don't believe the full set of claims about it being harvested from children or being consumed as a lifespan expanding aphrodisiac. Well, Dr. Shiva Aduri has an MIT PhD in biological engineering, and just a few days ago, he produced a massively viral video about what adrenochrome is, how a child's body might be induced to create it, and the reason that it might be desirable for a person to take adrenochrome.
So let me tell you what this is like. To put it simply, you need stress and anxiety to create adrenochrome. If you're going to do this to an animal, be it a child or lab rat, you have to put it under extreme stress and anxiety. And that's what we're talking about. With just stress, you don't get it. You got to have both. So this is what I would call extreme torture. Because if you just have stress, you're not going to get adrenochrome. You have to have the stress and the anxiety. Everyone getting this? Everyone clear on this? So this is the example I'd like you to do. The lion is chasing the zebra. That's probably when adrenaline is being released. It hasn't got him yet. It's chasing him. But what about when this incident is occurring? This is when you're torturing the animal. You got it. This is the anxiety. So this will release adrenaline. In my theory, this releases a superoxide, which is the reactive oxygen species. So you need this and this. You need this and this. If you're just chasing it around, you get adrenaline. So if we want to put it in perspective, you need the stress and the anxiety to get this. So you need both of this taking place. They're probably torturing whoever they're doing this to. This is sort of torture. Now, at least in the animal world, they probably do this quickly and get it over with. But if you assume you torture it more, you're going to get more of this species, more of this, more adrenochrome. So prolonged torture, more stress, more anxiety is going to get you this. So what I want to share with you, everyone, is I think I have a basis for understanding adrenochrome synthesis. And it falls in line with what people have been saying. They're torturing these kids. This is the big takeaway that you can say that Dr. Shiva just offered you. An explanation for this.
Adrenochrome, fable, conspiracy theory, bullshit, or does this stuff really exist?
Adrenochrome is a chemical. As a MIT trained PhD, you're not supposed to talk about this kind of stuff, but I was getting lots and lots of emails. You know, when I was exposing Fauci in 2020, there's a thesis that a set of elites have access to this substance. So I was just intrigued from a scientific standpoint, because I think that's what scientists are supposed to do, right? At a high level, physiological level, people are being put under torture. And the quote unquote conspiracy theory on this is that at that point, the child or the animal in this case is sacrificed and the blood is drunk from it. And the thesis is that you have this agent called adrenochrome. Adrenochrome is a compound, one of the compounds in blood. I believe you can actually go buy adrenochrome. It's sold as a compound. It's a chemical. I applied the systems biology approach to understand if something undergoes torture, how would that lead to the production of adrenochrome, right? With the approach that we take from a systems perspective, you're not just looking at one piece of information. The goal is to connect the dots. Stress, as we know, the flight or fight response, your adrenaline will kick into gear. It's part of evolution, right? Adrenaline is a molecule which has a very particular structure. So how does that chemical structure, adrenaline, get converted to adrenochrome? You have to have what are called reactive oxygen species. There's a whole range of reactive oxygen species our bodies produce when we're, let's say, in a state of anxiety, which is a little bit different than stress. The point it's literally being held on by the animal,
sinking its teeth into its back or taking it down to the ground and grabbing. Yes.
If it doesn't know if it's going to get away. Now, it not only was stressed out, a lot of adrenaline was released, but now it's in a state of anxiety. It's not sure of its future. Uncertainty is a very, very important characteristic of anxiety. One of the key things of anxiety is that your body will release reactive oxygen species. And superoxide is O2 minus would have to be released. And in fact, it is released. O2 will take the adrenaline molecule, and in that interaction, you will create adrenochrome. I'm sure none of the major scientific publications, even though I'm publishing, most of them will probably never publish it. Unfortunately, to test something like this out, you would have to put a mammal under incredible torture. With Cytosolve, the technology I created, we don't have to kill animals. It's a very powerful technology which allows us to mathematically model mechanisms of action. The key point is we have a mechanistic pathway that explains the creation of adrenochrome coming from stress, adrenaline, combined with anxiety, where you create ROS, reactive oxygen species. Massive amounts of research, because a lot of them come to us, are going into what are the nutrients you can take for anti-anxiety. Anxiety is very powerful because it creates all sorts of reactive oxygen species. It creates inflammation. But under the right conditions, that example where the lion is literally drilling its teeth into that zebra is, from this basis, at least have a mechanistic basis, would be releasing adrenochrome.